Hey guys, it's Rachel from A Mother Far From Home. So today I want to recap and talk about the top 5 main reasons moms feel so stressed, overwhelmed, and busy. The first reason, moms are very good at treating themselves, but not that good at taking care of themselves. When you take good care of yourself, you feel more calm, more at peace, you make better decisions, you're not as tired or stressed or anxious. But it's hard to take care of ourselves. The buzzword that's going around now is called self-care, taking care of yourself. Whereas actually so many of us are confused and we think treating ourselves means taking care of ourselves. Let me give you a quick example. When I was in high school and I got my first car, I took a picture of me and my besties and put it on the dash right there beside the speedometer. A few months later, I'm trying to leave school from some kind of practice and my car starts smoking, like white smoke. Come to find out, I had cracked the engine block because my picture was covering the check oil light. So the light had come on to say get my oil changed and I hadn't seen it. I missed the warnings, cracked the engine block, had to get a job, pay during the school year, pay off, $1,500 to fix the motor or whatever. And that totally could have been avoided if I just would have gotten the oil changed. So this is what happens. This is the illustration I want to use. If we just, as moms, regularly get our oil changed, take care of ourselves, exercise, eat well, go to bed at a normal time, don't let things press in on us that we can push away that causes stress, then we keep a certain level of maintenance of being okay. Whereas when we just go, ignore all of our warning signs and then crash, then we treat ourselves. This is what often happens, like crash, go, crash. Now I need to go away for 2 days to a hotel or whatever it might be. Now that's not bad, but that's not going to keep you in a good place. It's just going to sort of give you a Band-Aid, or it's going to it's like starving yourself of water for 2 weeks and then drinking 5 gallons of water in a day and then starving yourself from water another couple weeks. Okay. So this is part of something we need to take hold of. We need to learn to take care of ourselves instead of just treating ourselves. Because if you think of taking care of yourself as treating yourself, you won't do it because you'll push it down on the priority list. You'll be like, that's not very noble, or I have other more important things to do, or I need to sacrifice that for my kids. Whereas if you just think of taking care of yourself as routine maintenance, you'll make it happen. The second top reason is that we feel so overwhelmed with all the stress and the stuff in our lives and we don't know where to begin, so we do nothing. It's like saying, I feel like I'm fat, so I'm going to run a marathon in 3 months, and then tomorrow I'm going to go run 10 miles. And then after tomorrow, you're weak and sore, and you can barely walk, and you didn't even make it 10 miles, and then you quit. Right? This is what we often do because we feel this motivation in the moment to do so much, and then we just can't carry it out. So the key is to just sit with all your stress for a minute. Just sit down and get a journal, pray, whatever, talk to somebody. So the key is to sit down with it, sit down with the stress and choose one thing that you can actually fix. So a child's illness or something like that, you can't make that go away, unfortunately. But something that is in your control. You pick one thing that if it was better, life would be better, and you just focus on that, just that. So for me, that is dinner time. I feel like dinner time is a madhouse. We sit down to eat, and the kids want to get up, and they want to get a fork, and they want to go pee or whatever. And I realized we had guests come over, and my friend said, you know what has helped me? I put every possible thing I can think of on the dinner table. Everything. There's salt, pepper, ketchup, mustard. Don't even need ketchup for this meal. Don't matter. Pitcher of water. Everything on the table. And it seemed like a lot of work to me. But it means nobody has to get up while you're eating. So this is one area that actually caused me a lot of stress in the evenings that I'm figuring out a solution for. Figuring out, the balance that we need so that it's not as chaotic. Now, that's just one example. It could be something a lot actually more serious for you, or it could be something even less stressful. But we just want to pick one area that's doing your head in. And I got that expression, doing your head in, from one of my Scottish besties. Apparently they say that in Scotland. I don't know, are you Scottish? Do they say that? Pick one area. And then the longer you sit and think about it, you will find a solution, okay? The way to come up with a solution is to sit for a bit and think about the problem. That's how your brain is going to try to find a solution. So don't get so overwhelmed with everything that you could change. Think of one area that's in your control and just work on it first. The third reason moms are so stressed is that because when we get in busy or hard times, we abandon the basics instead of doubling down on the basics. So we let meal planning go out the window, we let our bedtime go out the window, what time we go to bed, all these things. Because we feel stressed, we just sort of go into survival mode. Now, this is totally normal. This is sort of what we all do. We go into survival mode and we kind of let the basics go when really, when we're in a stressful time, we need to rein in the basics and double down on them, because it actually creates exponentially more stress when we're already stressed and now we have no idea what's happening for dinner. So we have to eat takeout, and then that costs more money, which puts our budget out, and then we've got to go pay. So it compounds the stress. Once we're in a stressful time, we might need to abandon a lot of extras, but double down on the basics. The fourth reason that moms are really stressed and overwhelmed and busy is because instead of dealing with things as they come or keeping short accounts, we shove them in the back of our minds and try to escape. Now, Netflix and social media and our phones has made this so easy, because when we're feeling stressed or nervous, we just reach for our phones, or we just throw the kids in bed, lay down on the couch and watch some Netflix. Now, I'm not saying Netflix is the devil or phones are the devil or whatever. But the point is, when we escape from what's going on, it's still there. It just gets stronger and stronger and more out of control and more out of control. So the way, I know this is hard, but this is just a fact of life. The way to get through some of these stressful feelings and emotions is to feel them. So if we're just feeling stressed, instead of escaping, the best thing you can do is just sit down on the couch and be like, I am so stressed. I feel so stressed. This is all, whatever. Just talk through whatever you're feeling, journal it, write it out, call a friend, go to a counselor. The best way to get through all of these feelings that pile up is to talk them out. And I have a thing that I like to refer to that I learned years ago at this discipleship school I went to called the emotional basement. So imagine that you have a home, and in the home there's a basement, and leading down to the basement is a door down some stairs, right? So this is similar to our bodies with respect to our emotions. So one day we're going along and someone hurts our feelings and it makes us feel sad, but we don't want to feel sad. So we open the door and push the sadness down into the basement. Now, anytime we feel any kind of negative emotion and we don't want to feel it, we open the door and throw that down in our basement. Well, pretty soon what happens? All of these old emotions fill up the basement. They start coming up the stairs. And then the next time something a little bit bad happens to us and we try to open the door to shove that feeling down there, actually everything that's down there kind of pushes out. It overflows onto us. And then we're like, why did this one little person who was rude at the grocery store, now I feel like I'm so mad I could punch them, or I could key their car, or I'm just going to break down in tears because a stranger didn't like me. It's not because you're crazy. It's because you have a basement full of emotions. This creates extreme stress. Okay, so if you've already got stressful circumstances happen and you've got all of these pent up feelings, this is partly why we feel completely nutso. So the only way to get through it is to basically unpack the basement, little by little, feel what you feel. So I'm not going to go all counselor on you, but this is a large source of stress for moms, is that we're so busy we forget to just feel what we feel, and then it all piles up and it becomes unwieldy and out of control. And the number 5 top reason, and my personal favorite, is that we create standards or expectations for ourselves that don't match our limits. So let me explain. What we often do is we see lots of moms who are like, I wake up every day at 5:30 and I'm going to go to bed every night at 9:30 and I'm only going to have 3 extracurriculars a week, and et cetera, et cetera. They have all of these rules that they set for themselves. And so we think, sounds good. I'll do that. I like the way that looks on her Instagram or whatever. And we set expectations or standards for ourselves that we're going to keep. But you do not set external expectations and standards for yourselves, because those have nothing to do with your actual internal limits. Now, I'm not talking about morals here or values. I'm talking about what our actual capacity is. So take this home. Your willingness is not the same as your capacity. You might be willing to do lots of things. That doesn't mean you're actually able to do them without having a breakdown. So instead of just creating rules you hope you can live up to, which we always create ones that are higher than we can live up to, then we feel guilt and shame and we feel like a failure and defeated and all that. It's total recipe for total failure and misery. What you need to do is look inside yourself and see what your limit is. So for me, I have 5 kids, my oldest just turned 7, so 5 kids 7 and under. So I'm gonna be honest with you, I have a very small capacity to do anything outside of our home. I just don't. We don't go early to church. We're not in the praise band. We're not going to multiple things in the week. We don't have the capacity internally to do it without combusting. Okay. It might change, or it will change as the seasons go on. But right now, the key to keeping sane is to look inside myself and say, I would like to do that. I feel like other people do that. They seem okay. Their hair's not going gray. I feel like I should be able to do that. But can I do that? If the answer is no, I don't. So now, hear me out. I know it's really big to be like, we don't want to be limited. The sky's the limit. We have no limits. It's actually, that's not true. It's bull. Our limits will grow with time, but if we don't learn to respect our current limits and capacity, then we will always feel resentful and bitter because we will feel like everybody else is requiring us to do more than we can do. But we set our own limit. We know our limits and we set the path that we're on based on what we're willing to do. And when we learn to respect and stay in our limits, they will expand. So for example, some people truly only need like 6 hours of sleep. Their limit is less than 6 hours. That means if they're going to get up at 6, they can go to bed at midnight. So they have a lot of extra time to do whatever they want when the kids are in bed, right? Well, you can't look at that and say that seems good and then try to do that because your limit might be 8 hours. My limit is 8.5 hours of sleep. This is a true story. 8.5 hours of sleep. That's a lot of sleep. I go to bed early. I wish I didn't have to, but I do. So you just got to stop thinking about what other people do. You got to figure out your own limit. Maybe you can be out of the house 3 evenings a week without being crazy, and that's okay. More than that is your limit. But you, in this current season, might not be able to do any commitment. You might have held up a Bible study or a meeting or something in your home every week, and it might be driving you nuts and you resent it and you hate it and you're bitter. That is your limit. Right now, you just can't do it, and that's okay. So the big takeaway, I want you to just think about what your limits are. What is your actual capacity inside? Because if you keep ignoring it, you're not going to get stronger. Think about lifting weights. If you just go try to pick up this huge weight that like The Rock or somebody can lift, you can't lift it. If you keep trying, you're going to put your back out or you're going to injure yourself, okay? The key is to get a small, tiny weight. And as you get stronger and stronger and stronger with those weights, your weights can get bigger. But you can't pretend you have a limit that you don't have. So once you learn to figure out what your limits are and stay in them, you will actually be a lot less stressed because you will just naturally not even consider things that you were not able to do. Whereas now you're just considering all these things you think you should be able to do. You're shooting yourself to death. So this got a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but I hope that this helps you kind of handle the busyness and the stress and the overwhelm that are in our heads that come from just so much of life. I mean, life, especially as a mom, it just doesn't really calm down. And so the better we can take care of our spirit, souls, and bodies, the better. So thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you again soon.